everybody, Lisa here, and welcome back to Tarot Memoirs. This week we're going to be digging into the Empress, and I am excited to get started on this one. The Empress is a card that's near and dear to my heart. As I've mentioned in other videos, I really enjoy working with the Divine Feminine, with the Divine Mother, and the Empress has always, oops, I knocked my camera. The Empress has always signified to me that loving, nurturing, embodiment of mothering energy. And so I've always looked at this card as a goddess card, as a mother card. This week though, diving a little deeper, I really discovered so much more and so many more layers of meaning to sort of move into that understanding that I've always had of the Empress and relate it back to my life, which is pretty cool. And I was finally able to make some really cool connections with the concept of creativity. So I'm going to be sharing some of that as we dig into the books, but I want to get right into it. So and in honor of comfort and nurturing and self-care, I've pulled up my little purple yogi bow. It's like a beanbag, like long tubular beanbag, as like a backrest so that I'm extra cozy for this video. Yep, that's what I did. Anyway, so let's get started. As usual, I want to start with Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom. I highlighted so much, as usual, but I will try to move through this in an efficient way for you. So, some of the pieces that stood out to me, and I'm just going to read the little snippets and maybe share some thoughts along the way. The Empress, along with such mythological counterparts as Aphrodite, or Ishtar, or Urzuli, I don't know that name, I still have to look that one up, represent something very grand. They signify the passionate approach to life. They give and take experience with uncontrolled feeling. When I read that passage, I thought to myself, wow, I've been selling the Empress short. Like, I see her as this give person, but there's so much more. She takes in everything around her, and I'm already digging in. I'm gonna keep reading. Until we learn to experience the outer world completely, we cannot hope to transcend it. Therefore, the first step to enlightenment is sensuality. Only through passion can we sense from deep inside, rather than through intellectual argument, the spirit that fills all existence. Hello, how powerful is that? Are you kidding me right now? I was just like, wow, I've really been not undermining, but I've certainly been underestimating the Empress. It gets better. Recently, Carl Sagan demonstrated that life on Earth might have begun when a lightning bolt struck the primordial sea. Thus, again, from the lightning of the magician striking the waters of the high priestess comes the natural world. And I wrote in big letters here, creation. How cool is it to start to see this progression from fool to magician to high priestess to empress, and to see that idea build layer upon layer upon layer of our understanding of the major arcana. Like, I think that is amazing. Okay, I've got to stop sidelining or this is never going to end. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a frog in my throat tonight. The symbolism of the Waite-Smith Empress reflects the idea of nature with all its force and glory. The Empress herself, voluptuous and sensual, suggests passion. Her shield is a heart. Oh, I should hold that up so you know what we're talking about here. Not hold the words. There we go. Her shield is a heart with the sign of Venus, the Roman version of the great goddess. And then later on, at the Empress's feet grows a field of grain. The goddess ruled agriculture, and in northwestern Europe was called the corn goddess. Oops, there's glare on that. There we go. She wears a necklace of 9 pearls for the 9 planets, while her crown contains 12 stars for the signs of the zodiac. In short, she wears the universe as jewelry. Like, mic drop. She wears the universe as jewelry? Such a cool passage. I hug everything, have you noticed? I'm like, everything touches my face. Everything. Moving on. The number 3, this is where we get into numerology, which is really cool because I'm going to be diving into Tarot de Marseille, and I'm just numerology. So I'm excited about those references, and those might start to bleed more in as we explore Tarot Memoirs. You might start to see more of that showing up because I'm also diving into numerology at the same time. The number 3, produced by the combination of 1 and 2, brings out yet another idea. Just as the numbers 1 and 2 stood specifically for male and female, so the number 3 signifies the child produced by their joining together. And suddenly the 3s in the Marielle Tarot suddenly made more sense to me than they ever did before in that one sentence. And I know that has nothing to do with the Empress, but it has everything to do with the Empress because 3 is the Empress and 3s... See? I'm not going to be able to avoid it. Okay, getting cozy again. Still, pretty cool. The child is born as a creature of natural, unburdened... Oh, sorry. The child is born as a creature of nature, unburdened with ego and personality, experiencing the universe directly without controls or labels. It is only as we grow older that we learn to put barriers between ourselves and life. And that was really cool too. I'm going to talk about every passage. This is going to be a long video again. I'm very sorry. You might enjoy it, but I'm very sorry for those of you that don't. You could always speed up the sound. Then I can sound like a squirrel and we'll get through the content faster. Anyway, what excites me about that idea is that we do throughout our lives build up more and more barriers between ourselves and our experiences. We want to dull the intensity of life, and so we create these boundaries. And I thought that was really cool that that acknowledged that process. In readings, the Empress represents a time of passion, a period when we approach life through feelings and pleasure rather than thought. The passion is sexual or motherly. Either way, it is deeply experienced and in the right context can give great satisfaction. That sounds super dirty, but I can definitely see what she's getting at here. In the wrong context, when analysis is needed, the Empress can mean a stubborn, emotional approach, a refusal to consider the facts. She can indicate another problem as well, self-indulgent pleasure when restraint is needed. So that's what I took from Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom from the Empress, and those were all really, really chewy, juicy bits of goodness. And then we're going to get into Holistic Tarot by Benabel Wen. So I actually got quite a bit out of this one too this week. So let's see. The theme of the Empress is creativity and creative energy. In a reading, it suggests the realization of creative projects. 3, the ternary. Does anybody know what that word means? I should have looked that up. T-E-R-N-A-R-Y, the ternary. By the way, there are quite a few big words in this book, and I always felt like I had a really good vocabulary, but I think I have looked up more words reading this book, even though it's excellent, but it's a little bit heady. So ternary. Anyways, back to the passage. Sorry. 3, the ternary, is the number of creation. So this again relates back to what we were just sort of hearing in 78 Degrees of Wisdom and my comment about the Marielle, but the 2 makes way for 3, the growth or the creation, which is so many connections are happening in my brain. I feel like the synapses are firing. It's pretty cool. This is the card of fruition. She produces, she makes things happen. The Empress brings with her material abundance and wealth. The pillows that the Empress rests on denote comfort. This is why I brought out my cozy beanbag backrest thing for this video. Okay, so here we have another comparison, and I love these, so I'll probably share them for every card and when they exist. So comparing to the High Priestess in this case. So key 2, the High Priestess indicates striking beauty and intrigue. The Empress denotes the success of bearing offspring or innovation. It is the card of creation. Again with creation, and this was always such a sticking point for me before. I'll get into that again in a minute. The winding waterfall in the background. Let me pull up the card again. Oh, I lost my bookmark. Okay. The winding waterfall. Where are you? There you go. Whoop. There you go. The winding waterfall in the background nourishes the land. There is a sense of balance and stability between all 4 elements in this card's imagery. When the Empress card appears, she is a positive affirmation of the seeker's hopes and goals. Cool. The element of earth governs this card, and in the Empress, yin energy is dominant. So I think the last thing that I highlighted here was efforts of, the reverse meaning. Efforts of creation and innovation won't yield results. There's a sense of emptiness and no production after much work and effort. And can you imagine, sorry, my nose is itchy. It's always itchy when I'm making videos, probably because tarot and intuition and energy and stuff. But with those two, the biggest pieces I came away with was this idea of creation as a whole layer on the Empress. It's like she does represent things coming to fruition. I mean, from the wheat that she's often holding, I guess in this, oh, she's got a field of wheat in the Rider-Waite. But in some cards, she's holding wheat. But this idea of creation was actually one that I used to really struggle with the Osho Zen, and I did pull that card to show so that we can discuss that a little bit. But what really stood out to me was I finally got it. Like, I finally understood creation, and I understood creation from a pregnancy perspective, but that seems so literal that I think I was really struggling with it. When really what she's about is this idea of, we have the manifestation of the magician has now entered the earth and has borne fruit. This is the result of that initial inspiration. And yeah, I'm really excited about where I'm going to take this in a minute with my personal story to share. But anyway, one more book and then we'll move on to cards. So Kitchen Table Tarot, Melissa Sonova. And our action phrase, this is, if you remember, this is the phrase at the beginning of each section on the cards where she has like a little, where is it? There we go, a little statement, a little action statement. I am loving, and I like that. I mean, I'm a Cancer and a big mush ball and a panda bear, like in my head. I'm very cuddly. This is, I think, why I always liked the Empress, is she felt like that comforty kind of card. But again, she's so much more. Anyways, moving on. She is lounging in her chair, not sitting up like the other women in the deck. She is comfortable, and so in readings is comforting. I just addressed the comfort thing, so I'm going to flip the page. There's a lot of love to give here. It can be sexual or sensual. So again, we see this reference to sex, and I had never associated the Empress card with sex or sexuality at all. But it makes perfect sense now. And I feel like I've been missing that piece in my readings. Okay. Sorry. It can be sexual or sensual, but it can also be the love of a parent for their child or the love of a farmer for their field. It's that love that you feel. Like, if you ever worked on anything that you were passionate about and you feel like, this is my baby. Do you know how people say that all the time? Like, this is my baby, like at work. This project was my baby. I want to see it through. Like, I want to see it culminate into its completion. Like, this is the kind of things that we say in our everyday language. That's totally Empress energy. This is a love that encourages growth. Yes. And often I find that these creative pursuits that she sort of most embodies, or that she most represents, are the kind of creative pursuits that are going to have an impact, or hope the person, I'm making this personal already, but that someone hopes to make an impact with. So I thought that was really cool. This lady is warm, enveloping love. Yes, 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 that's how I've always seen her. Everything you touch grows. Yeah. Okay. Inverted or reversed. If that warm, enveloping love doesn't shine gently, it will turn into a laser and burn people. Yeah. Don't be smothery. It becomes that cliched love that is calling your partner 15 times a day to say hi. Dude, don't do that. Inverted, this card is jealousy and nastiness that comes from obsession. And I could see that. Like, if you're really wrapped up in something, whether that's another person or pursuit, I could totally see it being easy to get carried away. I totally lost my bookmark, and I need to put it back quick because that's how I roll. Anyway, so moving on to cards here. 2 seconds. Let me just grab those. Okay, bookmarks are back in place, so I can work on the Emperor next week. So card images. So again, I'll just quickly refresh your memory on the Rider-Waite, and then I'm going to probably put this one down. So again, we see the field of corn at her feet, the shield with the Venus symbol, or the woman symbol. She's holding a scepter. There's her crown, then her jewelry where she wears the universe. The forest in the background, the waterfall. It's very lush, and it is true that she's totally lounging, whereas all the other women in the tarot are like sort of upright and almost severe looking. And I'd be curious to actually compare. I wonder, is my new Marseille deck close at hand? It is, because I just filmed my Tarot on Earth, Learning Tarot on Earth, whatever intro. I'm going to just see, because I'm curious if the Marseille Empress is also lounging. Is this her? No, that's the Queen of Cups. Whew, I gotta learn these. going to take me forever to find it, but that's okay. You guys can just fast forward. I do that. I'm not offended. You're like, why is she still searching through cards? That's why. She really wants to know. And she's talking to herself. This is my life right now. You guys get to see. Oh, here we go. So, she is voluptuous. She's still got a shield. But yeah, there's definitely some differences. That is the Empress, right? Yep, that's 3. Okay, phew. Yeah, there's definitely some differences. Interesting. Okay, I can't wait to dig into majors, but that's going to be like many weeks before I get into majors in this learning the Tarot Marseille. Anyway, sorry. Back to my other Rider-Waite inspired cards. Putting the Marseille away for now. All right, so this first card is my Osho Zen Tarot Empress. Creativity. And this was one of those cards that I gotta move it so I can also see it in my little preview mirror, or it doesn't make any sense. Okay. So this is one of those cards that really confused me in the beginning when I was learning to read. Because I was like, creativity, like that seems like such a limited concept. Now, years later, whenever this card has come up, it really has been a time of putting yourself out there. When it comes up in readings, for me, it's always been that. I think the thing that's always stood out to me the most about this card is her reaching for that moon, or reaching upward. And so the impression I've always gotten is that there's a reaching for that, there's an embracing of the world and of opportunity. There's a manifestation, but of a really open-hearted, nurturing, loving manifestation. So where the magician is very action-oriented and like my way or the highway kind of, and like I'm gonna make this happen, she's like, I'm going to reach for what I deserve. I'm going to reach for what is worth sharing. She's very accepting. Yeah, anyways, I can't talk about each card for this long. But that one, of course, is very near and dear to my heart because I've been reading with it for so long. So then we have the lovely Star Tarot. Now what, I gotta figure out where to hold these. What I've been finding, let's see if I can get her up there. There we go. So you have all these little creatures at her feet. The beautiful star overhead. I really enjoy Empress cards that are very lush and surrounded with lots of nature and animals, and where she almost looks like, where my first thought is, oh, it's like Mother Nature. That's the image that I'm comfortable with, the one that I'm more familiar with. So I really, really appreciate and enjoy the Star cards, sorry, the Star Tarot's version. Then we have this really lovely, wild, and beautiful Mother Nature featured here in the Wildwood Tarot. The Green Woman with her big cauldron and soft belly and foliage. That one also, of course, screams Mother Nature to me. I love that card. And we have the lovely, content, and cozy, and beautiful Empress in the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. Again, very Rider-Waite in all ways, like even to the crown overhead. There we go. Yeah, and little wand. Love it. So sweet. This is actually a really beautiful version of the Empress too. This is the Mystic Fairy Tarot. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Like one of my hairs. Okay, there we go. There we are. I'm learning. I'm getting there, guys. Still a little fuzzy. She is lovely and, again, relaxed and lounging and cradling. In this case, instead of like a baby or anything like that, she's cradling her harvest, her wheat. So her project, or the thing that she's brought into completion, her growth. Game of Thrones Tarot. Who likes a little Daenerys in their Empress? She's so Empress. This was a really good card match for me. I really enjoyed seeing her in this position because being the mother of dragons, but also somebody that is definitely goes after what she wants in the world, and in a place where she really wants to do good. She doesn't just want to conquer. She wants to, let's not do Game of Thrones for the next half hour, but she really, really enjoys and feels strongly about her integrity with all of this. And I think that that really shows. So that's really cool. I love, oh my gosh. I'm actually starting to really enjoy this deck more since I've been doing this series and really looking at the art and thinking about it. But I love the way that this Empress, this is the Prismavisions Tarot, I love the way that she seems like she's literally in a swirling vortex of creation, like a cyclone of creative energy that just, I don't know, that just, it suddenly makes sense to me in a way that it didn't before. So I really enjoy that. This is such a sweet and beautiful and simple but powerful Empress card to me. This is from the Sun and Moon Tarot. The little bunnies for fertility. I love the way that she's got her belly. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus on it. Yes, there it is. I love the way that she's got her belly just out and exposed. I think that's really a cool image and so much to work with. This is the lovely Guardian Tarot's Empress. Very mothery and comforting and protective. And I know that this particular art isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I use this deck really for self-readings. I find it really powerful, and so I don't know, I didn't expect to. I didn't think I liked it when I looked at it on camera, like on people's videos, but I love it in person. Anyway, we have the beautiful Spirit Song Tarot Empress with this lovely bunny. And the keywords on this card are beauty and abundance. And abundance is an excellent card for the Empress, or keyword rather. And finally I pulled out the Everyday Enchantment Tarot, and you can see all of that I'll take care of you kind of energy pictured here. There we go. You can also, though, see a little bit, I think, with the child reaching. You can also see all the demands that can be on the Empress as well, which I think is really interesting as a perspective. So those are the cards that I chose to pull out for this week for the Empress as comparisons. And you can see some very different perspectives. Some are more powerful, such as the Game of Thrones Empress, and some are really, really gentle and nurturing, like the Mystic Fairy. You know, so you get really different. Again, more powerful, a little bit fiercer, and then more gentle. And then there's some that seem a little more, I want to say the word esoteric, although I don't know if that's quite right. But, you know, when you have cards like the Empress from Prismavisions and like the Osho Zen, you see some of the more energetic movement of, ooh, I just totally kicked my camera. You see some more of the energetic movement of the Empress, and I think that's really cool. So I'm gonna pick those up after this video. And I'm going to share some personal story. So first of all, I was trying to think of what, as I do each week, what are the sort of simpler or everyday things, the things that I do in my life that I feel like are Empress energy. And the first thing that comes to mind is that I am sun sign Cancer. I'm a very nurturing, I feel like my personality is kind of nurturing. I enjoy and feed off of being comforting to other people. I enjoy taking care of other people. So I think sort of the smaller sort of things that I really, really enjoy, surprising people that I love with something done that they thought they were going to have to do, that makes me feel really good. Some of that nurturing energy comes out with like administrative kind of stuff, like organizing things or making lists or dealing with small tasks that other people find annoying. I enjoy that energy also in my work. I enjoy being the person that takes care of those little details so that other people can focus on other things. So those kinds of things make me feel Empressy energy, that sort of, I'll take care of things so that you can relax, that kind of energy. And that's really where I was the most comfortable, I think, with the meaning of the Empress, that sort of general nurturing energy. But when I started to look at Shadow and I read what the books had to say, I was like, oh, I can totally also see, though, that overbearing urge to manage and control and cling and not necessarily give other people space. So that's definitely something that I've struggled with in the past. I caught myself doing this actually on a, where was I think it was on a Facebook group, and I remembered, I was like, it was a thread I started, I think, and I was like responding to every single comment, and then I felt really self-conscious. I'm like, am I doing the thing where I'm like being really overbearing? But I was genuinely excited to be interacting with people, but I was like, I'm commenting on every single comment. Maybe I should just pull back a little. I mean, I don't think I did, But I did check in. I was like, I just suddenly anxious. I posted something like, suddenly anxious that I'm being a dork by commenting to everything. Oh, I think it was in the Hermit's Cave Facebook group, talking about the video coming up or something, and people were commenting, and I was like, I'm so excited, like, on every single comment. But I was legitimately super excited. So that's, I think, where some of the shadow energy shows up for me. Also definitely shows up for me in the not seeing things through to completion. That's been an issue in my past. I find that if I have a plan or a goal, I do much better. Which sort of leads me to my the big one that I can think of that I can associate with the Empress, and that is that I am writing a book. And I am writing a book first for me because it's something I've wanted to do for a long, long time, where I wanted to distill my experiences working through coming to terms with loving my body, with body positivity as a topic, with coming to a place where I have a loving and healthy relationship with food and with the ways that I see food as something I'm not at war with. I have a whole lot I could talk about on this topic, but essentially I came from a culture, a personal culture, where I hated my body and kind of hated myself a little bit. I shouldn't say a little bit, I kind of hated myself. And through shadow work and through work on my body image and how I felt about my body, and through discovering a body positivity movement, and through all of these different things, and then becoming a yoga teacher, and then it becoming a part of my path to be very visible as a person in a larger body doing something not stereotypically associated with people in larger bodies, suddenly I was on this path to not only loving myself, finding my own self-worth, embodying that self-worth, but also to being highly visible as somebody stepping outside of what we see as sort of the societal norms. And I could talk about this a lot, and probably will in the future in my channel, in little bits and pieces here as it feels relevant. But the book that I'm writing is about self-worth, and I feel like this is something that we need desperately in our society. And the creation of this book is something that feels extremely personal. It feels like, it literally, I call it my book baby, which is what I was referring to earlier when I mentioned that we call things that we're very passionate about, that we care deeply about, our babies. I called it my book baby because it's something I feel like I need to birth into the world, even if not a single other soul ever reads it. This is not something I'm doing because I want my name to be out there. I held off for a long time even starting it because it felt very exposing, because it's a very personal journey. But what I need to do and what I'm working through with that book is how I experienced that process. I took that experience and I've, again, distill is a good word. I've distilled it down into the understandings that helped me along the way. And then I'm presenting those understandings in hopefully really digestible forms to other people, so that if anybody does read this, they see that finding your self-worth is not something that happens like a light switch turning on. It's something that you practice every single day. It's in choices you make. It's in how you relate to other people. It's in how you establish boundaries. These things, how we engage with the world, how we engage with our bodies, with ourselves, all of these things are parts of it. And so there's a lot of layers, and between my understanding of the chakra system, my understanding of major tarot archetypes, my understanding of the koshas, which is another system of layers in the body, or of the self, I should say, not of the body. There are many different pieces of understanding from different schools of thought, psychology, that have gone into creating a system that I think I can present to people that's palatable, that's digestible. Anyways, I'm babbling. The point of all of this is, it's meaningful to me. It's something that I need to do no matter what the result is, and so I'm chipping away at it and working at it. But sometimes I have these moments where I'm like almost afraid of how big it feels. And I know that sounds ridiculous, because when we, you know, it might, like I said, it might be a book that I self-publish on Amazon for, you know, I don't know what's going to happen or how it's going to become a thing. I just know it has to be a thing. And this idea of being carried away and swept away by this creativity or by this urge to send something out into the world, that feels so Empress. That feels more Empress than anything I could think of. So, yeah, I just went on a long spiel there. I hope you're still with me. That to me is Empress. And all those little day-to-day things are Empress too. It's the ways that we create and we share. It's even something as small as a good example of somebody else. I'm going to share this. I don't know if this is... Anyways, I'm just going to share this. I was in one of Kelly Fitzgerald, Kelly from the Truth in Stories live chats recently. And everybody was so excited for her to just sing at some point. It's just something that she does. And it's so light and it's so cheerful and happy. It's kind of like her sharing the Bob Ross Oracle deck. I don't know if anybody saw that video. I'll try to remember to link that down below because it's adorable. But there's something that you do for other people when you let go and are yourself, when you relax a little bit, when you show your humanity and your realness. And that felt like Empress energy too. It's like, do you realize how you are empowering other people just by not being afraid to hum a little tune on YouTube? Like, we don't think about the impact we have on the world. And the Empress just got real big in this chat, but she's got some big energy. And I think that's important to remember. We make a difference, all of us, every single day, just by being ourselves, just by honoring who we really are, by not shrinking, by taking up space in the world, which is something I was just talking about, so it's fresh on my mind. I think it's important to dig in and to open up in the ways that you feel safe and comfortable to open up. So on that heavy note, I just really enjoy this series so much, and I just want to thank all of you for watching and being a part of this. I am going to share a couple journal prompts from Journaling the Tarot by Andy Matzner. So if you feel like you want to dig into some Empress energy for yourself, here's a couple little journal prompts you can use to dig in and see maybe where the energy is showing up for you. So I'm just going to pick a few of these. If you're interested in this book, you can get it on Amazon as a Kindle, or you can order a paper copy. It's not expensive. It's just a book full of journal prompts for every tarot card. So let's do this. Question number 1, journal prompt number 1. How can you best nurture yourself? Journal prompt number 2. How comfortable are you with being assertive? If you need to become more comfortable, what would your next steps be? Journal prompt number 3. How can you honor your creative side, your sensual side, your sexuality? And I lost count. I think we're on 4. Journal prompt number 4. What gift or talent is waiting to be fully expressed? And finally, what is something that you've always wanted to do? In order to manifest it, what would be your next step? So with that, I will leave you with those thoughts. If you have memories to share or experiences to share or Empress energy moments of your life that you want to share, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, or you can join our discussion at the Supportive Tarot Facebook group. Just look for the group called Supportive Tarot with the little wine glass icon. I don't think I'll ever change that because wine. But if you want to join us there, come on over and, you know, share your thoughts, your experiences. I love to hear them. If you're not comfortable, that's cool too. Maybe consider a journal prompt and dig in a little bit to what the Empress means in your life. So I hope to see you again next week when we dig into the Emperor. That one should be interesting. I will see you all again very, very soon. Take care, guys. Bye.